do? Oh, my switchblade better than your switchblade. Where you get your switchblade from? Swiss Army knives or whatever. The teachers knew we had them, and they didn't. Look, as long as you didn't really bring them out in class and flaunt them, and you can have them. So what? The fact of the matter is, again, this kid is a good kid, and what Random doesn't understand is Twitter is dogging this kid with these racist whites who are putting him in the same category as a YN, wherever these people, what they call them, young nigga, I don't know what they call them.
Yeah, that's
the problem here. The problem is that in our race, we generally have good people on average. The problem is that the media overhypes every goddamn thing and makes every black look like a damn criminal. Now that is true, but the fact is that he was a good kid, and what Random doesn't understand is a lot of blacks are gonna rock for him. There's gonna be a civil war here, Sharon. Conservative blacks, liberal blacks on the fence. It's gonna be a civil war here because you got me. I kind of want to go out to Texas and help with his get out of jail campaign. It's gonna be a lot of fights here, man. I might lose some supporters and have some enemies for this one. But the fact is that you are correct, and Afro Nerd is correct. I forgot the guy's name again, but that white guy felt threatened, and he popped 3 of those black boys, and whites cheered it. They cheered it. Oh, he should have done that. They cheered it. And again, hey, okay, fair enough, Random. So let's use the same argument here. He felt threatened. He felt, and maybe, and again, we don't have any footage here. So he felt threatened. And here goes the thing. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up cases where knives were used in self-defense. Now, I did view, Sharon, they're mostly domestic abuse cases, women being let go because they felt like, okay, well, she stabbed her husband because of abuse. But I want to really look into this and see if I can find cases where self-defense was used, where a knife was used in a self-defense case in a fight, because this boy should not do decades in prison. Now, to a degree, to satisfy the public, maybe go to jail for maybe 2 years in prison. I don't know, and I really don't even think the kid should go to prison, to be honest with you.
I don't think so neither.
But you can clearly see that white boy came from a dysfunctional family. Because let's be honest, they said the black boy came from a single parent household. That white boy came from a dysfunctional family. Even in the interview, the mother messed up and the boy had to correct his mother. The mother and the father set up 2 separate GoFundMes. So you can clearly see, hey, look, man, a lot of these, the same white people will make the argument, well, black dysfunctionality comes from the black household being dysfunctional. Okay, all right, let's go about the argument. So with that same very argument, you can say the same thing about this white family. These boys probably were in a dysfunctional household. They're mad at their father because his brother seems to be with the mother more than the father. And so they have anger issues and all types of issues too. Same thing with you, same argument that you would give to these black boys. So, hey, man, if it's all fair, let's all be fair, right? Let's be fair.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And welcome to the show. Good day, Supreme Goddess PhD.
Good day.
We're good, PH.
Hey, y'all. I was actually coming to respond to what a Random Independent said.
Correct.
Because he started out by saying that, the black community, we have a habit of making martyrs out of criminals. And I'm just wondering if his mama never told him that literally every hero they have, every statue, every monument they have up in this country is a fucking criminal. So they stay martyring and idolizing criminals. So, sir, I'm gonna need you to go back to your mama and get the history lessons that she clearly wasn't telling you, or maybe go to your Negro grandmama and she can put it in perspective for you. Then I was wondering what the hell Trayvon did, right? He was just walking home minding his business. with regard to the Carmelo Anthony young man, he was in Texas. Texas is a place where they hunt, very outdoorsy. It's the country. So people walking around with pocket knives isn't an anomaly, right? It's not something that's out of the ordinary. I would say most people walking around got a pocket knife. But the idea that, it wasn't his tent, he shouldn't have been there. Like, it's a track meet. Anybody ever been to a track meet? If you have friends from another school, you're gonna be up under that tent too, talking to them, chit-chatting, yakking it up. They're gonna come to yours, especially if it was raining, right? You're gonna run under the first tent that was there. Now, somebody else coming and saying, hey, you aren't supposed to be here. They can say whatever they want, that's fine. But when we escalate to putting hands on people, and so that's one thing that we don't talk enough about, how many whites feel entitled to put their hands on Black people, whether it's walking up and just touching our hair without asking, right? Walking up and touching whatever on us, or we've seen plenty of videos of Black people filming some white person wilding out, and they'll come slap the phone up out their hand, right? Or just yesterday, I was at a hospital and parking in the wrong place, but so what? They told me to. The security did, and an old ass white man came up there asking me to move my car. And when I get ready to walk around his ass, he grabbed my arm. So are you telling me I shouldn't have two-pieced and tried to take that cracker head off? Right? And so Black people have a right to defend ourselves. White people aren't the law. They don't get to just, make up arbitrary rules for people and then we are bound to abide by them. That's crazy. Y'all really got to start taking these people off the pedestal because they're not what y'all think they are.
I like it. It was before you go, Ra. It was Skeez is yours. Let me see if he's ready to speak. Your microphone, guys, Skeez. Okay, he got to get his microphone together. As he get his microphone together, welcome to the show, Auntie.
Yo, what up, man?
I've got a question before you give me your thought. I want to know: do you believe it's bullying and why?
Oof. Just based on what I'm seeing there, of course it's bullying. Really, the boys behind enemy lines. Like you behind enemy lines. That's kind of what happens. You wearing the opposing team's colors. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of. I mean, it's standard because it's school versus school type thing. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's standard. Bullying. Does somebody usually die in situations like that? Of course not. But yeah, of course, that's what I believe. I did based on what you saw. Yeah, it was bullying. It was on some move or we gonna move you type shit, which is what happened. So I mean, I agree with what PhD Diva said, but to an extent, I don't think this should be like a Black versus white thing. Kids do this. You know what I'm saying? Kids do this. You know what I'm saying? Kids get into physical altercations all the time. Let's think about it. When we all got into more fights when we was kids than we did as adults. Because people put their hands on people. You know what I'm saying? Kids do that. That's why we got to tell our kids, keep your hands to yourselves. And kids still don't abide by that. Like they just do that. He just didn't know old boy was gonna pull out a knife and stab him in the chest and end, you know what I'm saying, end it. So it's definitely tragic. I just don't like the way everybody's trying to racialize, politicize, and all of that other stuff with it. It's a self defense thing. It's a self defense thing. Whether it is actual self defense, whether the court's gonna decide it, I don't know. But he clearly has a case for it. Clearly a case. I don't see why we're not arguing more or at least discussing the bond, bro. $1 million bond. Like that's the unconstitutional part. I believe like $1 million, bro.
Whew. It's insane. That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. You telling me if the family is rich, boom, he's out. Like you can commit the same crime, but you don't have to sit in jail. But because you're not a millionaire, you know what I'm saying? You don't have $1 million in assets that you can surety bond up for. Boom, you got to sit in a cage. I'm like, that's the part I want to talk about, bro. I'm like, come on, bro, $1 million, bro. Come on.
It's a lot. Thank you for that. Wanna also, I'm not sure, Skeez is yours if your microphone is good. Okay, there we go. All right. So right after Skeez is yours, I want you to answer the question as well. Do you believe it's bullying? Why or why not? and then we bring in Otis right after, and then we could just get it right back to opening. Everybody got their words out, and then we just get it right back open, having an open discussion. Guys, keys is yours. Then OtisWho.
All right, I'm good. My mic good.
Yeah, you good. You get sound.
All right, so when we say bullying, I would say it's bullying, but it's more so of an entitlement thing. He tried to intimidate the boy. He was outnumbered from the jump. You see what I'm saying? If we all talk about self-awareness, situational awareness, and all that is cool. But at some point, that young boy, he felt like he had to defend himself. When y'all talking about not only was they verbal, you lay hands on a man. I don't care if he hit him in the face with his book bag, or he pulled out a book, or he had a glass bottle and he pulled out his knife. He used it. So what? He did what he felt in the moment to survive and get himself out of that group that he was in that could have beat him to a bloody pulp. So we only focus on what he did to defend himself. But what happened if they would have beat that boy to a bloody pulp, paralyzed him? Then what y'all would have been saying? Oh, they ain't have to do that to him. They ain't have to do this. Well, before we did that, he did what he did. Now, unfortunately, the situation transpired to where he at. And if it's the right juror, if they actually had the right juror in there, and as they split it up and they don't make it the majority fucking white, then he do got a fucking chance of getting out of this. But if they don't make it fair, then he is gonna lose this. But with all the money I see that he got raised right now, he gonna have a great lawyer. That boy got like 4 or 5 GoFundMe's up for black people supporting him. So if white people can support their people, it's sad that we gotta say it. This is a race thing.
But hold up, Skis, real quick before somebody else goes. He gonna have to spend most of that money just to bond out.
I understand that, Auntie, but at the end of the day, if he's smart, because that money gonna dry up.
Save it for the lawyers. That's what I was saying. I was like, you might want to spend it.
Save it for the lawyer, because that money will dry up. But right now, is moving fast. He on a good pay. I'll just sit. But at the end of the day, oh, that's either man. But at the end of the day, my only disagreement with what transpired was, it kind of was when we look at it, he made a conscious decision to pull the knife out, so they can say that it's premeditated. Because if it wasn't, he would have just started swinging. Like when you not really think, you just start swinging. Okay, I'm mad, but you had to go in your pocket or go in your book bag or whatever to get the knife and pull it out. That's where we get a little tricky at, because they're going to dissect the shit out of this case.
That's crazy to say that.
We standing up. I'm just glad that we standing up as blacks for once. It's fucked up that it got to be this damn situation for us to want to side with one another. But this may be what we needed. Sadly, I hate it had to be the young bull, but I digress. Y'all got it.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to bring up the word premeditated. That's crazy. OtisWho podcast. Welcome to the show. Then after OtisWho, we have E the Man, and then we can get it right back open again. Go ahead, OtisWho. What's your thought?
Hey, what's going on? Peace to the panel and the chat. I agree with I started off agreeing with what Chaotic Truth was saying and everything, but for the record, I didn't hear all the facts. And before AR got booted off, which was funny as hell, he did bring another side to it, which still doesn't change the facts at all, but there's always two sides to the story. I didn't know that he was on the opposing side for us, the other team, going into somebody else's tent. But like Auntie said, that's high school stuff. That's teenage stuff. We all did that in high school. I ran track. There's tents up everywhere. Trust me, I get it. I don't believe it's a racial thing. Unfortunately, it could be easily turned into a racial thing, and it's going to be, but I don't think it's a racial thing. I believe it was a bullying situation. Yes, it doesn't matter who started off being wrong. He was a typical teenager going on the other side, being a typical teenager. We all been there. And he didn't know he was going up against. He went up against an opposing team who stood their quote unquote ground as being kids. That's what happens. Going to opposing high school. It happens. Unfortunately, someone lost their life. That is extreme. All kids, including myself, we had to learn how to navigate fights, how to stay out of a fight. We were all brought up, mothers and fathers. It doesn't matter if you have a 2-parent household. Don't get your ass beat. If you don't fight, I'm going to make you go back outside. It all was brought up like that. We were never taught to look at the situation. It's okay to walk away. Your first opportunity, walk away. We're not taught that. Let's keep it real. We need to be taught that, but we're not. But I land.
Yeah, Otis. Yeah.
Hold on, Edie man. Because AR had got kicked earlier. I want to get a chance because he probably ain't gonna last too long with the nonsense he's saying today. But hey, y'all, welcome back to the show. You could talk to us what Otis said, or you could try to reiterate your point. Go ahead, AR.
Cool ass nigga.
You're just trying to get me kicked
Slap
again,
the
man.
taste out of your mouth. I'd like to see it.
Damn, at least
It says, boot AR, no air time today. So you gonna have to fight back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Your peoples that's on the other side, they're gonna have to fight back for you. I'm not sure if they willing to fight for you. We're gonna see. Marcus Antonio consider with the $2. I told Sharon, CNN and BLM gonna make it a race. Get the F out of here.
Yeah, like I don't know what Otis talking about finding ways to walk away. One thing about a bully, if you walk away from a bully, he's gonna antagonize you for the rest of that year. This idea that you're just supposed to walk away, no, you gotta stand your grounds. And you know the problem with
Hold
the
on,
internet.
Edelman. So you hold on before we go back for us. So Edelman, you saying that you believe? I want to know before you keep going with the thought. Do you believe it was bullying and why?
Yeah, I believe that it was bullying. I think this black young man was protecting himself. I think he was willing to escalate the situation. I definitely think that it was more to the situation than just two people having an altercation. Based on what I'm seeing, it sounded like members was not in the black dude odds. So it was multiple people. So I think it was a level of bullying. It was a level of bullying, and he just handled it with a very vicious way that we might not agree with.
Okay.
And real quick, I just want to add something there. With now Texas, with they stand your ground rules, those jurors are not even able to take like fleeing or walking away as a possibility.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's I checked that out when it comes to the laws in Texas. Like
What
they're
you
not
mean?
even okay. So when you're trying to decide whether this was like premeditated deletion or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you're trying to use stand your ground, and because it's a stand your ground state, they're not even able to take that into consideration that you could have fled.
Yep, that is
Really?
true.
And
So,
the jury and the prosecution can't even make that case that he could have that was one of his options was just walking away. They're not even allowed to make that case.
That changes a whole.
yeah, they cannot make that state. But this is the problem with the internet,
Thank you,
right?
Auntie.
Because I heard a lot of people just talking about how this black guy was wrong. The problem with the internet is we all watch Friday, right? And imagine if they only took the part with when Craig hit Debo in the head. We didn't get none of the backstory. We only got just that little bitty speak when Craig hit Debo in the head. And say Debo ain't had one of the hard heads. Debo fall over and hit the curb and killed him. We would have been saying Craig is wrong. Craig is the attacker. Craig is all these different things. It's because we only took that little bit of piece. We didn't take all of the information. So no, check this out. Especially if you're defending yourself, sometimes it's gonna go to extreme measures. You might get chopped up a little bit. So I think that we should be saying free this black man. Free him. Let him out. Because the crazy point is we always say, oh, you should diffuse the situation. He shouldn't even been in the situation. These white boys shouldn't even been in that situation in the first place. And it was racist. Let me land it right.
Sure, wrong. I'll tell you, chaotic still there. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. People keep saying media making race. It's on. I mean, if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, everything you do understand about racism, white supremacy will only confuse you. So I'm a student and was mentored by the great late Dr. Neely Fuller. So I'm gonna say this: in Texas, I was born in Texas. They teach you to stand your ground before making a critical decision about fleeing and getting yourself out of the situation. The stand your ground concept comes from it is your duty as a Texan to stand your ground, not put your gun down and have a discussion. I see that you don't have a gun, so you're not a threat. Let me put my gun up and let's talk. That's not where Texas is. And second of all, as far as pocket knives in Texas, most of them hunting boys, they carry buck knives. Why? Because they go out in the woods and hunt bucks. They skin the buck, they dehead the buck, they prepare it for the market or for their freezers. So let's get out of this nonsense. I'm glad you kicked American Rifleman out, because you got to understand, America was built on violence. It operates and functions on violence. Is overseas operating and conducting violence, and there's violence in the country in all 50 states. The only thing that's different is the racial dynamics and or the laws which govern the state in which you reside in. But as far as this is going to be turned into a racial situation. Why? Because they want revenge. They want straight out revenge. They're going to need to get it through the unjust justice system or through a jury of his peers. That's the reason why his bail is set so high, is because they're trying to drain the wealth from the family pockets in order that he does not be able to get a qualified legal representation within the courts. But again, when you're, young kids, I will tell you this, it's worse now than when I was coming up. When I was coming up, my mother and my father told me and my brothers that if one of y'all in the fight, y'all all in the fight.
That's fine.
Y'all all in the fight.
And I would assume that's the case with his
My
twin
point.
brother, bro. His twin brother linebacker right there too, bro. Along with the rest of the school and the same team colors and all of that, bro.
And when he was being interviewed on CNN, I think it was on Fox, he was very careful with how he worded the events as far as what transpired and led up to the stabbing of his twin brother. But on their Facebook and social media platforms, you see them with guns and hunting gear on and masks on, and so I wasn't there. None of us was there, but at the same time, there's no peer view evidence, whether it's reporting, written evidence, or surveillance that has been released to the public to show us and demonstrate that these are the events that transpired. I land the plane.
Yeah, that's why they doing the media tour. Anytime you see people get out doing the media tour, doing the interviews, and doing all that kind of stuff, what they really trying to do is they're trying to get people emotionally charged to agree with them. That's what that's about.
Agree.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
so they're like, hey, check this out. We think if we can get speech to people from an emotional point of view versus a logical point of view, maybe we can win this case.
Hey, Cali Truth, I don't know if hopefully you said it. I wanted to ask you a question about what do you think about this $1 million bond? Should we be protesting, arguing the case? Because Auntie makes a great case. Should we be talking about this $1 million bond?
Yeah, the $1 million bond is absolutely absurd. It's see, I'm not too familiar with the city that it's in, or even Texas as a state in itself, in terms of how they do their jurisprudence. But the $1 million bond is obviously excessive. It's excessive I'm pretty sure it's excessive by many people's opinions and perspectives. The brutality of the situation, in my opinion, doesn't even warrant $1 million bond, right? I would even argue why, and I would want to study other similar cases in that area where other individuals, Black, white, Hispanic, given $1 million bond in that particular, what was that, in Dallas? No, that wasn't in Dallas, right? Where was that at? I forgot where it was at.
Outside of Houston.
Yeah, I guess it was outside of Houston, right? So I would question everything about this case, man. Why go for the highest murder charge or the $1 million bond? This wasn't an act of terrorism or domestic terrorism. This wasn't an act of maliciousness, like a planned out, manifesto. It's odd. I'm telling you, I'm almost to the belief that this is going to definitely be like a George Floyd 2.0 this summer with this case. This is like the beginning stages of it, and I believe it's done intentionally. And I hate to go down the conspiracy theorist route, but maybe this is something to keep the racial tensions, or something to keep something going on in the media, etc. Right? Racism is pretty much dying as an economy, and so maybe this is something to keep this race economy going, because even with me, I mean, I'm a conservative, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I kind of want to go to Texas with Al Sharpton. Now, this is something where Al Sharpton should be at, in my opinion. This is something where they should be at, right? And so you're gonna get it's gonna be a lot. I told you, man, it might be a civil war here. And what I mean is, it might be a civil war of just the nation might,
verbally, right?
Yeah, verbally, right? And they've already GoFundMe has already canceled the boys' donation, so that's another problem in itself.
Who canceled the donations?
GoFundMe. They canceled
both parties.
Just Carmelo Anthony.
Oh my God!
So they canceled the money coming to him. So I don't know. This is tricky, man. And I wonder why the parents haven't said anything yet.
That's what I tell you.
That's another scary part as well.
But yeah, it's definitely excessive. It's excessive, man.
Whew, that's crazy. I got somebody in the back. I'm not sure if I want to pull him up. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, as long as Imperius isn't sexual jokes and the vulgarity, I mean, I think that's a good idea to bring him up because he is an attorney, so he does have of interpreting the law than I obviously do. Yeah.
You're gonna be interpreting shit. All right, go ahead.
How long has he been locked up? I know it's a silly question. How long has he been locked up? Has he had his bond reduction hearing yet?
Nope.
I have no idea. Yeah.
He has not.
Because I'm pretty sure his bond is going to get reduced.
He hasn't had they said high. I mean, maybe, but not by much. That's what I've heard. Like lawyers pretty much say. Like
we're gonna see how this work. I'm a little nervous about it, NT, but we're gonna see how this work. We're gonna get his idea. And AR, you got a few more minutes before you could come back. I got you. Imperius.
Before you bring him up,
Sharon,
before you bring him up, and Ben is a lot older than us, so I'm pretty sure he knows. If I'm not mistaken, like in the 70s or 80s, a lot of fights, like street fights, they pulled out knives on each other.
Yes, they did.
I've heard about. I didn't see it, but I've heard about shit like they had pull out knives.
We used to fight with knives, chains, bumper jacks, anything. Tire iron, dog chains, the dog. It don't matter. We were swinging every day with the dog on the chain. So
now, But see, Sharon, now had Carmelo Anthony gutted the white boy, okay, I could see $1 million. He stabbed him and then his brain blacked out. Bah, 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 bah. He just, prison yard gutted him. Yeah, I could understand $1 million. Now, to the point now where even me, I'll say, listen, self-defense went out the window the second time you stabbed him, right? But the fact
by
that
the time he got to 16.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Yeah, but the fact that he stabbed him, probably didn't even realize what he
stabbed him once and ran.
And then he ran, in my opinion, he ran to probably where he thought adults would be. And he had, and so it's not like he ran, he left the stadium and he was on the run. Yeah. He called his cousin, come pick me up. But so to me, it's like there was a level of remorse. If I was a prosecutor, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, I would have given him $100,000 bond.
He also didn't know that he's just unalive somebody neither. Like you know what I'm saying?
He fell to his knees.
Yeah.
Grabbed his face, covered his face up, and was crying. This was what was reported. I don't know if that to be a fact. This is what was reported. So that's remorse. He didn't like run out of the field and run down the street and get on the main boulevard and run a 400-yard, a 40-meter sprint. It wasn't like that. And he was, and actually he was even concerned. Reports came out that he was concerned in invoking the name of the kid that he stabbed.
Now, when we're bringing up things like the remorse and all of that other stuff, like what would that mean when it comes to the case? Is that going to help with the intent or something, like proving the intent? Because other than that, it really don't matter.
Yeah, if they drill down on the fact premeditation. When people hear premeditated, that's like you taking a buck knife or pocket knife or a 9mm or a Glock to a game and say, if my team lose or somebody from the other team says something crazy, I'm blasted. That's
Right.
premeditation.
It's kind of like what happened in Above the Rim when they lost the game. He came out with the like.
Oh yeah,
That's premeditated.
Right.
He knew.
Hey,
if they
Motar,
lost,
you know what to do. Yeah, Motar.
that's premeditated. But him defend him, doing it one time and leaving, I don't believe we can say it. And we do have Imperius in the back. But before then,
Let me say this.
good day.
Let me just say this before you bring Imperius up. Is this?
Hold on 1 second, Ron. Welcome to the show, Brownsville, New York. Good day, sir.
Yo, peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Can you hear me, Cuzzo? Am I coming through clear?
You coming through clear?
Yeah, first and foremost, Cuzzo, let me take my shoes off before I walk into this room. Peace and love to all the beautiful queens in the chat, man. Anya Bracy, the SBG First Lady, Robin M, DB, Sugar Bum, Bomb Cherry Juice, Rogue C, It's Me, Dr. G, Sexy Red TV, The Supreme Goddess, PH Diva, Talking to Kinfolk, M Mills, Zero Tolerance, Renee, Keisha G, Conversations with MJ, Miss Jalen, Genesis, Pink, Black Beauty, Brownie Ellie, Fantasy Island Girl, all the queens, man, all the queens. I don't want to forget about none of the queens. Every time I hit this platform, I'm gonna make it my purpose to lift y'all up, give y'all flowers, and show these men, show these knuckleheads how they should be treating the ladies, the queens, and the women on the internet, man. And peace and love to the kings as well. Can't forget about the kings. Cuzzo, this is a great show, great topic, and I've heard a lot of great perspectives that I appreciate, especially from Chaotic Truth. I gotta give him his credit. He's been, speaking a lot of wise words on this subject today. Edelman Williams as well. To answer your question, though, yes, it is a form of bullying. When you look at the situation, the circumstances, yes, he does have the right to stand his ground in Texas, right? And the fact remains that not only does he have a right to stand his ground, but, Texas, has clear guidelines. You don't have the duty to retreat in the state of Texas, right? And also, there's no stipulations on the appropriate level of force that you need to utilize, right? All the statute says is the appropriate level of force to neutralize the threat, right? So that part of the statute is open for interpretation, and it's a matter of perspective. That's when those issues that Chaotic Truth brought up comes into effect. When you talk about the size and stature of the assailant, how
I mean, yeah. So
I had a call come through. Am I back yet?
Yeah. I was
Am
just
I
gonna
back
say,
yet?
Yeah, you back. Yeah, you back.
as far as the threat though, like what he perceives.
Hold on, Auntie. Let me land it real quick because I gotta go. I can't stay.
Go ahead.
So in the state of Texas, right? There's no duty to retreat, and there's no clear statute on the appropriate level of force you need to use to defend yourself, right? So he's good there in those aspects. But to me, the biggest hurdle that's in front of his defense team is going to be the student code of conduct, right? Because in most states and in the state of Texas, even though the state of Texas is a Second Amendment state, even though you can walk around the state of Texas concealed, open, in your vehicle, etc., the problem is you cannot come on school grounds with weapons, right? That part is clear. And every student who is going to a school, the family is aware of they have to uphold the student code of conduct. So if in that student code of conduct it says that
no type of weapons can be permitted in the school, around the school, or on school grounds, or a certain amount of feet from the school activities, that's going to be his biggest uphill battle. Because if the weapon is found to be illegal, right, then it brings a lot of it makes this case a lot more complicated than it needed to be. If it happened off of school grounds, right, then it's a clear case of stand your ground, self-defense, and I would have all the optimism in the world that he would get exonerated. However, because you throw in that caveat of the school, the legalities on weapons within the school and on school grounds, that's the part where his lawyer is gonna have the biggest hurdle to jump across. Other than that, I do believe that we should rally around this young brother, because it is some, mischaracterizations that's happening. It is some false narratives that's being spread. And it does make me feel good to hear Black people from all across different sectors saying, hey, yes, he was in the right and he had the right to defend himself. And I don't appreciate those mischaracterizations of him, being, publicized in the manner that they're publicizing it, right? So we got to get more information, right? We got to see if there's video evidence. We got to hear the eyewitness testimony. We got to see everything before we really come to a conclusive verdict on what happened and what should have happened. We can't Monday morning quarterback it now because we don't have enough information. But from the facts that have been released, yes, it does look like self-defense. The only problem is, was the weapon legal in that circumstance? And if it wasn't, then we have a problem. But peace and love to everybody on the show. Like, share, subscribe, support my cousin. He's doing a great job here on YouTube. And have a great rest of y'all week, man. Peace and love to everybody.
Thank you so much. And speaking of misrepresenting the case, welcome back, AR. You ain't got much time, I'm pretty sure, because you misrepresenting the young man. But go ahead, AR, do your best.
You ain't slick.
Slap the taste out of your mouth. I'd like to see it.
It says, oh, and to drop AR as soon as he come up. God dang.
Yeah.
Also, we have somebody.
No,
I mean,
so
there's a lot of. I'm sorry. Yeah, there are a lot of folks that are making. Okay, so a lot of people say it's self-defense once, because let's keep it real. There are eyewitnesses saying that this boy put his, that the Metcalf boy, he put his hands on him. Pushed him. That's when the knife came out. But he's already got his hand in his bag. He says, touch me and you see what happens. A lot of, like, some lawyers are they're gonna make the case that that's an invitation to mutual combat on some care to step outside type stuff.
No, but
that doesn't give you a right to just stab somebody right there. So that's why they're trying to say it's like premeditated. When you invite somebody to mutual combat and then they, they fight you because you invited them to fight you, can't just stab them.
Yeah, but so the only thing, that Brownsville had a good take. The only thing that I disagree with Brownsville, I done been to football games in Texas, and people walking around with guns on their hip. This idea, at the football game, you'll literally see people with a gun, a 9mm on their hip at the game. So they can't argue that point in Texas that you can't take your weapons when you got 40,000 weapons around the stadium already.
Damn.
It is
I mean,
deep, dog.
I get
Just
what
like
he
you
was
said,
trying
it's
to
Texas,
say,
bro.
but
Everybody's packing. Now he's just like everybody's packing in Texas, dog. Kids too.
Yeah. And a school policy doesn't trump criminal charges or state law. So I get what, with all due respect, what Brownsville was trying to say, unless he was trying to correlate it into something else to tie it in. But a school policy. That's just a school policy that doesn't compare to a criminal charge, a civil charge, or a state law or statute for that matter. So
Yeah, but like and the thing is, we got to come to the point that someone having a weapon in an event like this is actually a common thing. This wasn't
in
like
Texas, right?
sometimes what we do is we think about it like if we lived in New York and not lived in Texas. And in Texas, a person walking around with a knife, with a gun, with all these types of weapons is just part of being a Texan.
That's a
To
bar.
be honest, it's part of being a teenage boy, bro. I always had a pocket knife. When I was a teenage boy, they taught you that in Boy Scouts, bro. That's rule number one. You always be prepared. It's always kept a knife. So I mean, we haven't seen the knife. We don't know the size of the blade or any of that stuff. Like for real, was it like a switchblade or was it like a box cutter? Just a pocket, just an
It was
all-purpose
a
pocket.
3-inch knife.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's not even a knife. You know what I'm saying? It's like for violence. That's something that you just keep on you just because. Just because.
And that's what the police is reporting right now. From the police report, is the actual police report is dropped in the back chat, and he is reporting that it was a 3-inch knife. So, hey, man, that's not. If we're gonna have it that law is law, we cannot say, oh, it's a different law for us than what it is for them. That's the part that makes it so difficult.
And also, let me just jump in here, Sharon, is that one thing people don't not looking at also, especially those don't not trained in like maybe martial arts or been to the military or something like that. The physiology of the human body is very vulnerable when you know certain pressure points, where certain blood vessels, nerves, and arteries are. And the thing is, you don't have to pierce the chest near the heart in order to kill someone. You can, depending on how sharp the knife is, if you cut through the clothes, the person's not wearing their jacket, you can slice diagonally across the left chest muscle and cut into blood vessels or the vagus nerve, which runs up to the carotid artery, and a person can bleed to death in a matter of minutes. So the physiology of combat or striking a person, when you know what to do, you could render a person defensive or take a person's life just by knowing some of the physiology of the human body when it comes to close quarter contact or combat.
Hey, Rob, or by not knowing, you can just accidentally hit the wrong
Or
spot.
by, yes, that's true. Yeah, and by not knowing, correct.
Easy, I have no idea what you said and who you said it to. So I have no idea. But I will check for you. But maybe you said something you ain't supposed to say. Because people with a wrench, they're gonna stand their ground.
Sure.
He said he got to stand your ground, Chad. We got to stand your grounds, Chad.
I'd
I
like to
like
know
that.
what chaotic truth or even what do y'all think about $1 million bond?
Yeah, I think it was excessive. I think it should have been somewhere because you pay 10%. Usually you pay like 10% of the bond, right? So
Right.
I think it should have been somewhere around 100. I think anything under $250,000, it would have been less to argue about, right? But if it was like $250,000 or less, this young man get out anywhere between 25,000 to $10,000. I think is fair. I think that would have been fair.
I believe it's going to be reduced when he has his bond hearing reduction. That's the first thing his attorney is going to ask for when he gets arraigned or whatnot. It's definitely going to get reduced. The $1 million was just there, and it did work to get that first effect, that first emotional reaction. I believe it is unfortunately going to be some type of civil war type situation because it's going to turn into definitely a racial component. Is going to be, unfortunately, but his bond will get reduced.
No, but see,
Let me say this.
but I think that the white judge, because it is a white judge, was making a statement that y'all black people ain't like us. I can give you $1 million bond for something I would have normally gave a $50,000 or $100,000 bond. Like we
That's
gotta
true.
understand that he made a statement with that.
Or
I think
especially
that was
like
Yes.
a statement.
they know your family can't post a million. They can't put up 1 million in assets. You know, they can't
Correct.
put up 1 million.
Even
So keep in
100,000 for that
mind,
matter, even
yeah,
10%
I'm
of
just
that.
saying they already raised like close to 200,000. So if it was only 10% of that, that boy would be out of jail right now. So it
Right
really
down. Yeah.
depends. Like the bondsman still has to post that. So you need a bondsman that's covered for it, and a bondsman is willing to take that, and your family got to put up the collateral for the rest. It's going to require some sureties and some other stuff too. I don't know how it's working out there, but I'm just saying it's more than 10%. Otherwise, that boy would be out by
Well, and the
Might,
reason
might
$1
have to
million
put up the
is
deed.
hello. I think people don't understand the reason $1 million is a crazy amount for Texas is because the property. Like their mama can own a house that's worth 250,000. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like $1 million bond in New York versus $1 million bond in
Mhm.
Texas. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Imperious,
about like 5 houses. Go ahead, Chaotic.
Imperious, and a few other of these suspected white supremacists a few weeks ago or a week ago said that he was trespassing. How was he trespassing?
Yeah.
How do you
That's crazy.
trespass
He's not
under
trespassing.
under an open
No.
They said he was
building?
running at that meet.
Well, how do you, yeah? That's how do you? Where was he trespassing at? And
And
so if
and
he's in the
the reason why he was underneath that tent is because it was raining, so
right,
everybody's kind of crowded underneath that tent. But go ahead, my bad, cutting you off.
no, that's what I wanted to say. I mean, that's what a lot of these people are going to start saying. He was trespassing.
Well,
Well, the
I
school
think
has to say he's trespassing, not that person. The school has to say that because everyone was on school property. So if the school doesn't say they're trespassing, then no one else can say that. The tents were on and the people were on school property. So no one can say they're trespassing except for the school administration.
But even with trespassing, you gotta give them like a formal warning to do trespassing. Like you can't just say somebody's trespassing on the first time, especially in a public area. Now if he got a formal warning, say, hey, if you come back, you be known as trespassing later, and he came back. That's the only way they can do a trespassing.
Yes. Yeah. I think the thing we're missing is the law and their law, which are two different things.
Uh-oh.
The law and their law, if you know what I mean.
Oh
So
no, you gotta break
again,
that down. You can't just drop that like
well,
that. Now break
okay,
down
it's
what does
like
that
this.
mean.
Their law is the law that states ever since the Constitution was drafted is that there is no law by which a white man has to respect that is due his property and or a slave or a black man. This is stated leading up to the Emancipation Proclamation. Even after 60 years, when after 60 years when it was actually enforced. See, when the proclamation was signed by Lincoln, it was not enforced for another 65 to 70 years. So we got to understand that codified within the Constitution is that there are rights by which former slaves who were given benefits that a white man or person that is classified as white had no duty to respect, even constitutionally. That's what I mean by that. So there is the
Okay.
law and their law.
Okay, so now I want you to tie it into this situation. Like I understand that
Okay,
part.
the way I would tie that in is this: one, the $1 million bond. Just like someone was explaining the property values within Texas, you can actually financially wither all transferable wealth or any wealth that the family has just by putting up property deeds in order to fight their son's case, which will render them financially bankrupt. So they know what they're doing. And second of all, you know, you have manslaughter, you have different degrees of manslaughter and murder. First degree, second degree, third degree, first degree, second degree, third degree manslaughter. So is this a manslaughter case? Is this a self-defense case? Or is this a premeditated case which will fall under state murder charges.
Well, no.
That's what.
So yeah, I get what you're saying now. I think is different, right? I believe they gave him $1 million bond because they feel that it is proven through the judicial system, if you sit somebody in jail, they'll plea a lot quicker than if they go home. Right? That we know that for a fact.
That's typically that's the case when you get into legalities and jurisprudence. Yeah, that's typically okay. Tell us what happened, and you go home, or tell us.
Yeah. So say
let me
for example,
get a
you
real
got
quick
young
second.
man.
Let me get a real quick second. The new Culture Empire with the $4.99. I gotta go now. Hey, y'all can breathe. Give that $20 credit to Tiff. Catch y'all later. We up in the score. Sheesh. Also, we got HQ Reacts with the $1.99. Is that see un Jesus or a rando dude?
Yeah. The point that I was making is, so first of all, you got a young man who he stabbed someone, he's crying, he's remorse. The one thing that they want to do is keep him away from his family because they understand that they get them prison lawyers in there talking to him, talking about why he should plead out. They understand that him being in a situation that is not formal to him it's a higher probability that they can get a plea. So I think it's just that. I think it's not like so much of the slavery and the different laws. I just think that they know if they can keep him locked up long enough, they can convince him to take a deal that's unfavorable to him.
Oh yeah, they're gonna use the mind game and police Hegelian dialectics. But did anybody hear about the mass shooting that happened yesterday?
No.
3 people that were killed. Yeah, it was 3. It was 7 people shot. 3 died, and they arrested the gunman on scene. He gave up.
Where at?
And guess it was in. I believe it was in Virginia, state of Virginia.
Okay.
And they arrested him, and he was a Yeti. He was a white tee.
Oh, okay.
A Yeti or a white tee.
A Yeti. Wow. Okay. Welcome into the show. We Unlock Nation. Good day, sir. What is your thoughts? Was it bullying? Why or why not?
Bullying. All white boys bully black kids in junior high schools, and wherever else.
Checkmate.
I just want to ask a question. This stand your ground law. Do teachers in high schools carry weapons too for protection?
Some do. They're not supposed to. Yeah, they're not supposed to. Not on school grounds, but some do.
So if that is the case, then this brother should have no particular issue with him scathing away for what he had did, and that was just protect himself. So we should have no issue.
Well, minus racism, white supremacy. You know, everything you do understand will only confuse you if you don't understand the system of racism, white supremacy, as far as how it operates.
Quite well, my brother. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. So we have to be very conscious of that. And
I can say this is why lawyers practice law, though. Like the law is up to interpretation. This is about what kind of case that you can make, and into like I think this is going to be groundbreaking as far as what the clear definition of self-defense is, because it's such a gray area.
You think there's going to be any fallout?
Yeah.
Any fallout within? You think there's going to be any racial conflict or incidents?
Oh yeah. No. This is going to be magnified. I don't think the situation itself is a racial thing, because I think this happens amongst kids. It happens.
No, I don't.
Black kids versus black kids. It happens with white kids versus white kids. It just happens when you got kids from opposing schools. Sometimes kids from the same school. But as far as the court system, with the $1 million bond, whether or not this boy is going to get a fair trial, the due process that he's supposed to be entitled to, pretty much the same thing that Zimmerman got, same thing that Rittenhouse, regardless, he should get a fair trial, and that's why we should be banding behind him and his family, just to make sure he gets a fair trial. I'm not saying he's guilty or not, because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a juror, so I don't know. He deserves a fair trial just like anybody else do.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer or a jury, but I am a master at supremiology.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what?
But
Sean,
I'm saying that the $1 million bond is the first smoking gun in unfairness though. $1 million, bro.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah,
asked
that's
me
crazy.
of what when I said I'm a
A million is insane. HQ reacts with the 499. Blacktastic, chaotic. I need to throw myself down the stairs. Truth ain't doing. See you on Instagram. We skating in hell, y'all.
Hey, Sharon, somebody asked me what am I a master in when I said supremiology.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to answer that question if that person would like to pose that question again.
Sure, answer the question. We here. We got you. Go ahead.
The question is this. I believe there's only the human race. I believe that racism, white supremacy, is the only form of supremacy in the known universe between the people of the known universe. And in effect,
damn, that was good.
Damn.
Keep going.
Economic.
Keep going.
Yeah,
And to show what he means by white supremacy.
Why he getting his microphone together? AR.
Okay, I'm together. I had a call. I'm together. Okay, so I believe that racism, white supremacy is a falsehood. I don't believe it is a thing that can be measured by anthropological or scientific evidence, because there's no such thing as a white race, first of all. But I believe since the 1600s, when the concept and the idea of racial classification came into existence, it came into existence because there was a notion within the colony that they would not be able to keep human beings in bondage, not servitude, but bondage forever. So
let me just respond to that first part. The problem with that is I can go to an Asian continent where no white or black people are there, and racism still exists. So
no, you don't understand. No, you don't understand. You don't understand, bro. That's why I said that. Asians that practice feudalism or any form of system of conquering or looting and taking over territories, it wasn't because they were Asian. Japanese didn't do what they did to China because they were Chinese.
No, what I'm saying is that if you go to China, they treat darker skinned Asians different from lighter skinned Asians.
Yes, they do. Bro. But guess what? But guess what? But guess what? Those Chinese people that they treat that are darker than the fair skin, they still speak Chinese or Mandarin. And or they still have a cultural
American though.
No.
All right. Nobody want to hear what y'all saying. All right.
We don't all speak American.
Okay. All right. Okay. The more y'all talk,
Oh my God!
Hold on. The more y'all talk, the more people leave.
I'm gonna have to, you know what, Sean? I'm gonna have to get my own channel. I'm gonna have to start my own channel because
I think that's a good idea. I don't know why you said it in that context, but yeah, it's always a good idea. You should definitely do that.
But go ahead. We'll carry on in the dynamic of the event and the topic, because I think this is what most people can relate to. I think I was taking it too deep, which I do understand. The victims of racism and white supremacy will vote against their own interests when they don't understand the system of racism and white supremacy in the Americas. I land.
But I just want to go on record saying that it's scientific evidence that racism exists. So I don't know why you said that.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Okay. Let me back that up.
Okay. It's okay, Rob. Hold on. It's okay. Y'all can
okay.
Just hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead, AR, man. God damn. You good. He gone now, so you good.
I need like 5 minutes.
Hey, AR, real quick. But before you go, because I gotta go, and then I'm done for the rest of the day. But I just gotta correct something that Edaman and Otis said earlier after I left, because they were totally wrong. So Edaman says that people in Texas are carrying guns to high school football games. If they are, they're in violation of Texas Penal Code Chapter 30, right? So if you go do your research, look up the Texas Penal Code Chapter 30, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You cannot bring weapons onto school grounds in the state of Texas, right? That's point number one. Also, you can also look at chapter 411 of the government code, which also goes into details on that. Because of the rise of school shootings everywhere, right? There's been law changes within the legislature of a wide variety of states that prohibit weapons from being on school grounds and a certain amount of feet from school grounds. In the state of Texas specifically, if you're carrying a weapon, it's a state jail felony, right? So if you're at an event, high school event, that's put on by the school, you're carrying a weapon, that's a state jail felony in the state of Texas, right? So I'm not saying that he's never seen it, but if he sees it now, they're felons, you know what I'm saying? Or they're putting themselves in jeopardy to become a felon, right? Because that's against the law. And the reason why I said the student code of conduct is because Texas also has an education code, right? And the student code of conduct is a legally binding document under the education code in the state of Texas, right? So which if students break that, right, they're subjected to the laws of the state of Texas, right? Which can end up with being crimes, right? So what I'm saying is, you know, I'm not going to speak on an issue that I don't know about. Obviously, when it comes to laws across this country, I'm not going to speak on it if I don't know what I'm talking about. So I just want to land it there. Yes, the state of Texas, state of Florida, several other states where they have Second Amendment rights, loose gun laws. But when it comes to schools and school property, those weapons, those laws do not apply, right? And it's for a good reason as to why it doesn't apply. So that's the biggest hurdle that they're going to have to climb, because if that weapon is deemed illegal, then that's going to be a problem for his legal defense team. That's all I'm saying. So
in other words, he's not going to get a fair trial. Let's just put it that way.
Right, that's what he's trying. That's what he's really poking at. And he said the hardest part of the unfair trial is the knife, and that's going to be the main focal point that Brownsville believe the prosecutor is going to use against him.
But
Is it a legal weapon, or is it a legal carrying situation or not?
yeah, but I believe in the state of Texas, it's a certain inch requirement too for it to be considered a weapon too.
But not on school grounds. Either man, you're correct, right? But look up what I'm telling you. Look up chapter 30 of the Texas Penal Code. Look up chapter 411 of the government code. And then look up the education code, right? So on school grounds, all weapons are strictly prohibited. Even if the kids bring a weapon. You know what I'm saying? They're subjected to legal ramifications. No matter how large or small the knife is, right? It's illegal. Right, it's considered contraband. It's considered illegal, and it's considered they're gonna be penalized for having those things, and it also extends to school events, right? Okay. So that
quick
is the issue.
question before you go off on a tangent. No, Brownsville. So when you're talking about the difference between self-defense and premeditated unaliving, how does that coincide? Because I get it. You breaking that law, you violating the student code of conduct, you doing some stuff on school grounds you shouldn't be doing. But when you're talking about unaliving somebody, like those are two different things, bro.
Well,
you know
no,
whether or not it's
I think
premeditated
you
or whether or
guys,
not it's self-defense.
right. So when you guys are talking about premeditated murder, you guys are incorrect, right? Because if it wasn't on school property, right? So if you could be anywhere, let's say it happened outside of a regular normal gym, right? And you got 3 or 4 dudes surrounding you, right? And they're threatening you and they're giving you verbal commands to leave or whatever, or they're threatening to assault you, right? And if they are now physically assaulting you, then there's no clear stipulations on the means you have to defend yourself, right? And that's where those details as far as how many people was it, were you cornered, because you don't have duty to retreat, and you don't have a certain stipulation as to what type of force you can use to defend yourself. So if he wasn't the provocateur, if he wasn't the primary aggressor, and they were actively pursuing him for an aggressive activity, then that premeditation that you guys are talking about, it goes completely out of the window and it doesn't apply at all, especially in the state of Texas, right? And other, like in the state of New York, yes, it definitely would apply there. You know what I'm saying? Because they have strict laws against weapons and so on and so forth, but not the state of Texas. So that's the point that I'm making, right? The premeditation part is irrelevant. The only issue in this case is the knife being deemed legal or illegal. And if it's deemed illegal, right, and they say, well, the knife wasn't even supposed to be there to utilize, then that is going to be his biggest problem that he has to overcome.
What you said, he get locked up for something. Translated to the black folks, Brownsville say he gonna get if they found out that
You
life
think he
is
have an
illegal.
uphill battle? Stop it, E. Marcus Antonio continue with the $2. If Carmelo's found guilty through due process, what then? Oh man, that's a scary thing, especially if it's
if convicted, that's 5 to 99 years.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
mean, he'll likely do 15. You know what I'm saying? Like 20, he'll get 20 and have to do like 10 to 15 of it.
I actually think he's gonna get off. I don't think he's gonna get convicted. I think that Texas hold their rights
Year of probation.
And plus they know once they do that, they know that it's going to change their whole laws of how people move out there.
Yeah, and I think the jury is not gonna want to change the whole laws, and I think they're gonna let him walk. We see this in Texas a lot. People get a chance to walk because they don't want to change the laws, and I think
and I think that's what we're gonna see how I guess racist Texas or the Republican whatever we're gonna see. Jalen, you're the man, speaker. Black people can't win a race war.
So do y'all think that this gonna go to court? Because I don't think it's going to court. I think that they're gonna try to work a deal. They're gonna try to do some backyard deal. Maybe give them 2 years or something like that. That kind of sweep this under the world. What y'all think?
I believe it's going to trial. There's no way.
I agree with that. I'm pretty sure he's going to trial, bro. I think his lawyers have already instructed him to fight it. But we'll see what happens. You never know. Things change.
Great question. Jason with the 199. Stadiums are considered school grounds?
Well, you got to understand, if he fight this process, he going to do 2 years in jail because they going to stretch it out for the next 2 years.
Now, being under 17, does his parents have to be there when they talk to him?
No. Not with the charges they charged him with. And I think that was the reason, and that's another reason I think they threw these type of charges at him, is so that he will not be considered a minor. And then they can be able to treat him like an adult. Because if they would have threw different types of charges at him, then they would have had to consider him as a minor. Well, he would have been considered adult anyway, because he's 17. But I think this case gonna end with a plea. It might come down to saying that he gotta do 2 years. Or they gonna say you're gonna sit here for 2 years while you doing.
No, I agree with you there, but he's gonna end up doing if any 10 years probation. If he gets out.
I don't think it's gonna be that simple, but I don't see a plea coming. At all. Why not fight this one?
Right, especially
you said why not or why?
Yeah, why not fight it? Because it's not open and shut like that. Like right. I think it just doesn't make sense to plead. Like it's so big. If you got good lawyers that can make a case, and you got witnesses saying that this man put his hands on you, like you got to fight the good fight, bro. You don't cop a plea to that.
You speaking from the outside. I'm telling you, it's like the same question when they said, "Why did Young Thug flee?" He had a winning case because he sat in jail for 2 years. Anybody that's sitting in jail and they got the option to get out, they typically plead. They say, hey, we're going to give you time served, we're going to put you on probation, or you can sit in jail for another 6 months and fight it.
Who is that talking?
Damn, man, he gets his scholarships taken away from him too.
Just who the hell is that talking?
That's either man.
Either man. Okay. All right.
Well, anyway.
Oh, I thought you had some smoke for him. Like you said, who the hell he talking with? That was aggressive.
No, I mean,
I thought he was gonna stamp off.
The only question I want to ask, bro, are you in the South? Are you in the South?
I'm not in the South anymore.
Oh, you were in the South.
Yes, sir. And I know 90% of people plead. So this idea that you think people ain't gonna plea is crazy.
No. I'm not talking about that. You transported from the South and brought the South with you somewhere else. I did detect that. That's all. That was my only question.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna plea. I think he's gonna plea. I think he's not gonna be able to have a lawyer. His family don't have the time to have a lawyer for the next 2 years. You gotta understand these cases. That's literally how they're getting people taking advantage of people in the legal system. They drag these cases off, and they drag
They've
it
always.
on.
This is not new. They've done this since 1957. Man, I was born in the 50s, so this is not nothing new.
Which is what, like, that falls into the category of unconstitutional because you're supposed to have a right to a speedy trial.
Wow. And a jury of your peers. And when have you had a damn jury of your damn peers? Damn jury of my peers is me calling my homie, hey, bruh, can you come and serve as a jury of my peers to get me out this shit? That's the jury of my peers in my mind.
I agree with what he is saying, man. If they're gonna keep him in jail for 2-3 years, you know what I'm saying, awaiting trial and saying, yo, it's gonna be $1 million to get out or whatever, somebody might crack under that type of pressure. That's one of the reasons why you're entitled to a speedy trial and due process.
And it's incumbent upon us to keep an eye on this and bring pressure to bear on the judge to bring down that bail based on the duality or the penalty of the crime or the interaction. Because I'm not convinced there was a crime other than the fact if the school policies and procedures and rules says that there are no weapons by adults or students on school premises or grounds or within 50 or 100 feet of that campus. Then that's something different.
Agreed. Hey, y'all, you good? You there? Or you still away?
I think I'm good.
Or MIA.
You better go while your enemy is away.
He don't got that much money.
But
he's gonna run out.
Okay. You want to present your?
I'm definitely not gonna run.
My God, damn, Ben, shut up.
Damn.
No, you shut up. Don't tell another grown man to shut up unless you can make him shut up.
Did we just
a young man's life is on the line here, y'all.
Come on.
Yes, it is. But I wasn't put off the panel, so you shut up. Just before Sharon make you shut up.
Damn.
Or else.
Oh, man. Go ahead, hey, y'all. What's your thought?
I don't know.
Fucked up in 2024. You sound
Damn.
Cold as ice.
God damn.
Damn.
He said, hey, I ain't leave yet. Hey, y'all. It says, drop AR while I leave. Tiff, you got the other 20.
Well, Bo.
Otis.
Yes, sir.
Did you see that Megyn Kelly newscast podcast or whatever that's called on I think it was on not CNN but Fox News, how she spun the story
She's got her
saying
own
that
show,
this
bro. It was
man
on her own
was.
channel.
I know
She
that.
ain't
I
part of
know,
Fox no more,
but
bro. They got rid of her years ago.
well,
Yeah, she got that
if
nice
that's the
settlement off
case,
there. Yeah.
then
Oh, let me read this.
it was
Marcus
it's a
Antonio
white supremacy show.
Castillo with the $2. Oh, y'all can hear me? With the $2. Marcus Antonio Castillo with the $2 says, guess what? She unlocked another child's life was taken. Oh shit. You got beef, clearly.
I ain't got no beef with no bitch.
Oh,
damn.
Okay.
Who was there?
I don't
Beef
know.
with me. I don't
Okay.
know. I had no idea. But anyway, she completely spun the story as if the young man just took the knife out the bag and just, excuse me, just stand still while I just stab you in the heart. Then I'm gonna run away. This is how people spin the narrative. So when you ask
Yeah,
a
I agree.
question,
That's how it was presented. That's how it was presented to me. We unlocked last
But
night. That's how it was presented to me.
even the boy's father said that. The one that was slain. You know what I'm saying? His father said, "Hey, he just asked the boy to move politely, and then he just pulled out a knife and stabbed him." You know,
Yeah,
that's what the
right.
boy's father said in his statement. So
Uh-huh.
it's like, and come on, people going to spin whatever narrative they want to spin to promote their own agenda. It is what it is. You know, so I get it.
yeah, you know what? I'm too
I believe.
old to be fighting. Hold on a second. I'm just too old to be fighting with kids nowadays. So, Sharon, yeah, you have a good day. I'll see you later, cuz. Hey, Raw Hotel. Invite me over to your channel. We'll talk about.
Who am I talking? Who am I talking to?
Huh?
Okay, what is that? We on Lock Nation, aka.
Yes, sir.
Okay, bro. Yeah, okay, all right. Because I'm doing reconnaissance and intelligence work on Sharon and chaotic site to know what my know what my ops is and know what my opponent how skilled they are. Because I know the steel sharpens steel, diamonds cut diamonds. So I want to make first contact.
Nah, I appreciate just to go to what we unlock just said. I appreciate you letting everybody like talk about the actual fact because there have been a lot of channels that have conveniently left certain stuff out. You know what I'm saying? They leave out the fact that this boy put his hands on another boy, the fact that it was a downpour on. You know what I'm saying? And that's why everybody was kind of crowded underneath the tent. All of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? People just leave out a lot of different things trying to push a narrative. So appreciate.
Yeah, Sharon, I appreciate that, bro. I'll concur with that.
Just trying to get it all out. Yeah. Because people will conveniently.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I really like to try to focus on is just getting the information out. Let's talk about the information, not our narratives and how we feel about it.
Right.
Because I come from a speaker's corner background. Not a social media platform background. And when I used to go to speaker corners back in the day, this is even at the time, the first time I met Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Then you would go with your security, and when I was doing it myself, I would go with my own pick team. Most of the brothers was former veterans that I knew, a couple that I actually served with, so they were clearly vetted. So I know if somebody just wilded out just based on my statement or my pushback on my argument or my narrative, then they would get dealt with very swiftly. So, but on the social media, you can say what you want to say with it. We don't know each other personally. We kind of got familiar with each other on different panels and so forth and all. But yeah, this is where we're at, and I've seen this over the decades mushroom into where it is now. And I would argue that it's actually more lethal now. Not so much as the occurrence and things didn't happen. It's just more lethality. It's more lethality to conflict now, even if it's on the street in the neighborhood.
All right. What's up, Chaotic?
I was going to take a break today, but my engagement has been canceled, and
nice.
Not just canceled, but I think I'm going to do a show about the police report in an hour or in under an hour because what Sharon, you have a lot of whites in this country that they are hyper fixated on black people, and I'm not saying that this is a absolute statement, but it seems to be that a lot of whites have placed blacks in a monolith.
Ooh,
and I think that's the danger of a lot of whites, a lot of blacks. They've placed this monolith, right? And you hear the monolithic tone, or you heard the monolithic tone the moment that this story came out. He's from a single parent household. That was the first, even though that was proven to be false. He's a pookie. He was suspended from school. He's this, he's that. And all those things are proven to be false. And, as the Negro Whisperer, it is my duty to correct even the wrongs of the whites who are just hyper fixated on keeping this narrative supposedly going, if you will.
Why do you think they do that, Chaotic? Even on your platform?
Well, a lot of whites have underachieved, and imagine seeing a country where you are told that you are special, that blacks are downtrodden, yada yada yada, but when in fact a lot of that stuff is false. A lot of blacks are very well to do. A lot of blacks didn't grow up in oppression and slavery. And imagine being someone white, but you've underachieved with your whiteness. So you are comfortable with these types of stories because it fits whatever belief you have about blacks. Look at his hair. Look at that. He doesn't have a father in a home. Well, he does have a father in a home. Well, why did he have the knife? Well,
CT, I don't mean to interrupt you. CT, are you okay this morning? Are you okay this morning?
Ben, you don't know this.
No.
I've kicked in the back.
No. I'm serious. I've known it, but I mean,
question, right? You asked
Ben, believe it or not, Ben, you caught me. You've only been before you came to my channel, Ben. Ben, I used to kick in the backs of whites regularly.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
I'm an equal opportunity. I'm an equal opportunity racist. And whites generally have underachieved. That's why now you see more whites blaming the Jays for their failures. Yeah. You see more whites doing this because now that you can see the real with your fingertips now. You can see China. You listen, Ben. Even in China right now, you can clearly see that the Chinese are 50 years ahead of us, and even to this day, what a lot of whites are doing now is it's a coping mechanism. Well, the buildings are tofu buildings. The buildings are made out of cardboard. It's a coping mechanism for your own failures because you have failed to realize you have failed to compete. Go ahead.
So what I interpret and get out of this, because we did get into a little bit of this when we were discussing the problems of China and China's military and economic problems, is this an innovation? Is that I think what I'm getting out of this is that white currency, which is their whiteness or their skin, return value is being diminished.
Correct.
Because their greatest currency is being classified as white. Get out of jail, pass, go, collect. That's what the currency is.
Ben,
because they don't want to be black.
Ben, yesterday, and I've known Be Brave for years. He's a great guy. My dentist growing up, he just retired. But my childhood dentist, black guy. My childhood physician, Black American. My my current physician is a Black American woman.
Okay.
When I told this to Be Brave, he kind of was shocked. Well, I'm like, Brave, do you not realize that it is normal for a lot of Black people, particularly, to have Black caregivers, Black physicians, Black dentists? Do you? Well, that's not a lot. Like, how do you know that? A lot of people don't
believe it.
A lot of people. I dated a girl. It took her a longer time to become a doctor because of family issues, but she has her own practice. Well, and a lot of times, well, I don't see a plethora of Black people when I go into the Mayo Clinic. Well, the Mayo Clinic is the best hospital on the planet, but I'm pretty sure you won't see a lot of whites. You won't see a lot of. I mean, how many goddamn doctors are you gonna hire? But a lot of doctors have their own practice. They have their own.
Yeah, when I was coming up, I only saw Black practitioners, medical practitioners, dentists, eye doctors, ophthalmologists.
But you gotta remember too. But see, Sharon, it's comfortable watching, going on Twitter and typing in Black person fights at Popeyes, and you watch 50 of those videos.
Absolutely,
that's masturbation to a person who has a narrative about Blacks. Oh, that's master. You watch the same fight videos, and that's what you perceive Blacks are like. But then when a Black person like myself tells you, bro, it was common for me to have friends whose parents were doctors, and well, that's just an outlier. Well, is it just a coincidence that a lot of people even call into my own show? Is that an outlier too?
They can't.
And what it is,
they can't believe you had a Black man's hands in your mouth, even though he had gloves on. How dare you have a Black man with a mirror and a scraping tool to clean your gums in your Black mouth? It's unheard of.
Yeah. And so the thing is that a lot of these whites are crashing out. A lot of Blacks are crashing out, Sharon, because think about the whole game with the game with racism. Sharon, you've seen me in action. You've seen Negroes call into my show. You've seen me on other panels. Negroes talking about they live in oppression. One Negro, Otis, says, "Man, I'm in bondage right now." I said, "Bro, if you were in bondage right now, turn your camera on and I can help you out, man. If you chained up and bondage by a white man, turn the camera on." "Oh, no, you know what I meant." And I'm like, I got Blacks who call into my channel who live in 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square foot homes talking about they're in oppression.
Damn, that's crazy.
Hold on. Thanks for having me. Great convo. Thank you so much, home of the official white purse. Salute to you, man. Guys, give him a big shout out, thumbs up emoji, dollar sign emoji. That's a nice avatar, by the way. I don't know how you did that. That's a nice avatar with the Monopoly man with what looks like to be a Draco. Now here goes the thing. And so I know, Ben, it's a shocker to you because you probably have seen me talk more about Blacks, but Ben, I used to kick in. Ben, I've made videos kicking in whites' backs too. I hold not my own self accountable. I hold everybody accountable.
But you know what, CT? When you first did your first show on this incident that happened in Texas with the stabbing at this between these two adolescents, they turned on you real quick because I was just in the chat. They turned on you quick.
Ben, I have gone through different white audiences, man, before you came to the channel, man. I've had hundreds of whites stop watching me for whatever reason. One time, Sharon, Candace Owens did a video picking on this dark-skinned Black girl who's trending on TikTok. This Black girl travels the world. She goes to high-end restaurants. It's one of these like vlogging type Black girls. Beautiful Black chick. Her name is Brittany. So Candace, for some reason, did a video about her. And I'm like, who in the hell did the Daily Wire paid you to talk about this girl? This is a random chick. And what it is that somebody fat and white and ugly that works at Daily Wire, some fat, ugly white chick who's jealous of Black women, said, "You know what, Candace? Maybe you should make a video about this Black girl." Man, I did a video going in on Candace, man. And I used to think Candace would watch me, and there's a reason why. And something stopped coming to me, but
right.
I did a video going in like Candace was talking about her hair, talking about her skin, talking about how she's like the way she looks and Brittany. And I'm like, you're talking about a Black girl who's elegant, she's classy, This girl Brittany, I mean, dude, one of these real elegant black chicks, man. Just real well spoken. And Candace was going in on her, and I did like a 4 or 5 hour video going in on Candace. Like, Candace, what was the point of you talking about this girl? It's not like the girl did something ratchet. It's not like she did something that needs to be talked about. What are you critiquing about this girl? And I had a lot. Well, Ben, let me finish. I had a lot of whites. What? A lot of white, and I think this is more of a women thing too. A lot of white women and some black women of a certain skin tone went in on me, and they were shocked that I didn't know you like dark skin. I'm like, dude, my wife is dark skin. I've only dated dark skinned women. Just because I sit up here and kick in the backs of blacks doesn't mean it's like they have this thing like they think that I just hate black people. I don't really hate anybody, to be completely honest with you. But the fact of the matter is that. Let me see. Just my 4 cents with the $5 super chat with you. Someone on your panel said knives with blades under 5.5 inches are allowed on school grounds. Not true. In FISD student.
Why does he get to read, Sharon? How come I never get to read?
Just my 4 cents for the super chat.
Why does he hold Trump accountable for the economy where it currently is? You want to talk about blacks and the whites? No, hold that MAGA nigga accountable. I'm gonna go back on mute.
So and the thing is, to land my plane. To land my plane, Sharon.
Man, fuck that plane. We talking about people losing their 401ks, all their money, their farms, all that shit. And you voted for that shit. You were a fucking advocate for that shit.
Ma'am, you don't understand the world, ma'am. Ma'am, you don't understand the world. Tariffs are great for the economy, ma'am. If this is the first stages of decoupling from China, and I agree with it. And I agree with my guy from my guy with the show where they invest in people, O'Leary. I said it before he said it.
You don't think it should be 300% tariff.
We need to decouple from China, ma'am. Ma'am, we need to decouple from China. You don't understand the world, ma'am.
Exactly, and that's
ma'am, you don't understand the world. You don't understand economics, ma'am. You don't understand the world.
Don't think for yourself,
ma'am. You don't understand the world, ma'am.
You don't understand,
ma'am. You don't understand the world.
You don't understand yourself.
You don't understand the world, man. People worried about their 401ks.
You don't understand anything.
Ma'am. You don't understand the world, ma'am. I'm not worried about tariffs, ma'am, because I've prepared.
Should be.
And I'm not a luxury spender. So I don't worry about tariffs. I don't worry about the fact that I might have to pay $2,000 for a big screen TV that's imported. Damn. I'm not buying a $2,000 TV. That's why. Wow. I understand the world.
Plus he wears the same blazer. So exactly.
And now we got young black boys.
Hey, I just want to make sense, since we got a good amount of people. I just want to make sure everybody said that we are going to do a stream for Uncle Tom. We're gonna try to get him some money to SBG Nation. We're gonna try to get some Cash App money together to send to him because he lost everything. I'm gonna play the video of his house burning down on live. Literally, he was live while it was happening, and his house literally caught on fire. It burnt his whole house.
Who we talking about?
Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah, his whole house burnt down. He lost all his cars. The only clothes he had was the clothes that was on his back and some flip flops. But he was able to
get his family okay.
Family out.
The family's all right.
Dogs out and everything. So everybody is physically safe, but the house completely down to the ground. Cars completely got burned. They got caught up in the garage. And it happened on live, so like literally it was on live. It's crazy.
Yeah, but Sister Ron,
we're gonna do that. Chaotic Truth is gonna close us out, and we're gonna go run over to that next stream. Go ahead, Chaotic Truth.
Yeah, I'll be streaming in under an hour. Sharon,
yeah, that's gonna
be good. One thing about me is I look in the mirror and I try to say, well, not try. I say you are the problem, Chaotic. You know why you don't have a 6-pack? You've been drinking for 3 months straight.
Damn.
You know why? Let me see. Just my 4 cents, $5 super chat. Salute to you, man. Says leave your 401k alone, and it will come back in due time, like it always does. Seeing this happen many times in my 25 years, you will be okay.
25 years.
So Sharon, to end the plane or to land the plane. But she got me all off my script. I was about to say now. Anyway, yeah. So
sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. So the thing is that I look in that mirror. I ran for the first time in months. Well, 6 months yesterday. I could barely do a mile. Doing 7 miles was routine for me when I'm out. Man, it's the Jays. Man, it's white supremacy. Man,
The
it's
joints?
everybody's fault. No, CT, it's your fault why you can't run a mile, just 1 mile. Because you stopped running and you've been eating bad. That's what happened to me yesterday. I look in that mirror.
CT.
Oh, dang, Ben.
God,
Let me
you can't do it.
Ben, let me
Just
finish.
just go in Ohio where you know they after you, and you would do it. I guarantee you.
You're kind of ruining my flow, Ben. I mean, it's kind of like.
All right. Okay, cool. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So, Sharon, when I look at this situation with this boy, a lot of these angry whites don't understand the world, and they are not looking in that mirror. It's your white founders who established the First and Second Amendment, right? It's your people who did. It's your people who established the Stand Your Ground law. Am I not correct?
Absolutely.
You're right.
Everything that we are seeing, these whites are not looking in that mirror right now. They're not, and a lot of these blacks are, and they're not looking in the mirror. Because it's easy to blame other people. Let's not blame the good-looking, blue-eyed, blonde kid. Let's not blame him. Let's blame the black community for what this boy did. No, blame that white boy. Because Sharon, I've seen it myself that whites
such a flip-flopper.
I've seen it myself that whites overstep their boundaries too, Sharon. Always, Sharon, I've seen white people. They will walk over to their neighbor, black, white, or whatever. Your lawn is about a centimeter too high. They are busybodies. They have a culture of, and to a degree, I kind of like it. I kind of like the Karens, but they are busybodies sometimes. They are always bothering people. They bother each other. The young lady earlier said,
and we gotta end it right there. That is a good spot. Chaotic Truth in about an hour. He's gonna go live. He's gonna run through the whole police report, and y'all can argue with him there. And he's gonna pull out some points, and he's gonna cook people up who needs to get cooked up. Shout out to Chaotic Truth. We're gonna go head over to the next stream right now. That we're gonna go support a fellow content creator and his tragedy. Thank y'all so much. I see y'all.
Can you put it in the back?
Yeah.
Yes, it is in the back.
Okay,
it's in the back.